I thought I had seen it all, but nothing could have prepared me for what my sister said that morning. She looked at me with a smile and said, "I'm pregnant. Again. Number 6. I froze. 6 kids. 6 lives I had helped raise, wipe tears for, feed, and manage. And now another? I had reached my breaking point. I knew I couldn't do it anymore. I turned to leave. I didn't know it, but that simple step out the door would trigger a chain of events I would never forget. I had always loved my sister. We grew up close, shared secrets, fought over trivial things, and promised each other we would always have each other's backs. But over the years, I realized something disturbing. I was the one constantly backing her up, raising her children, managing her house, and sacrificing my own life for her family. It had started innocently. When her first child was born, I stayed over to help. I cooked, cleaned, changed diapers, and tried to make things easier. I thought it was temporary. I thought it was what family does. But family doesn't come with a limit sign, and I learned that the hard way. Then came child number 2, and 3, 4, 5. Each time my involvement deepened, my weekends disappeared, my social life vanished. I was exhausted physically and mentally, but my sister seemed to glide through life effortlessly. I was the invisible parent, silently managing her household chaos while she smiled and continued on with her carefree life. I tried to talk to her about sharing responsibilities, about boundaries, but she laughed it off. "I know you love helping me," she'd say with a casual wave. And I did love her. I just hadn't realized that love could be so draining. And then it happened. The morning was bright, the birds chirping, and she came in with the biggest smile I had ever seen. "I'm pregnant," she said casually. "Number 6. I froze. My hands trembled, my heart raced. 6 kids, 6 lives that I had somehow been responsible for shaping. I felt a mixture of disbelief, anger, and exhaustion crash over me. I couldn't take it anymore. I couldn't be her unpaid parent, her constant backup, her emotional punching bag for another child. I knew what I had to do. I needed to leave, not in anger, not in haste, but in quiet, decisive action. I turned to walk out the door. The weight of years of responsibility felt like chains falling off my shoulders. I felt light for the first time in a decade. Freedom at last. But as I closed the door behind me, I had no idea that this simple action would ignite a storm I wasn't prepared for. My sister's mind was already racing, thinking of ways to control me, punish me, or force me back into her life. She wouldn't let me go without a fight. And that fight would involve the law. The first few minutes outside felt like a dream. The sunlight was harsh, but it didn't matter. I felt liberated, as if the weight of years had been lifted off my shoulders. I walked down the street slowly, savoring each step away from the chaos I had endured for so long. For a brief moment, I allowed myself to believe that I had made the right decision. But relief never lasts. Half an hour later, my phone rang. I didn't recognize the number. Hesitant, I answered. "Hello, is this your name? This is Officer Miller from the local police department. We received a report regarding neglect of your sister's children. We need you to come in immediately." I laughed nervously. Neglect? I had spent years taking care of those kids. I cooked for them, bathed them, stayed up nights when they were sick. How could I be accused of neglect? My stomach twisted. Was this a joke? But it wasn't. The officer's voice remained professional. "Ma'am, we have a legal obligation to investigate. Please come to the station and explain the situation." Panic surged through me. I felt trapped. How could my sister do this? Call the police, accuse me, and try to force me back into a life I had worked so hard to escape? It was shocking, humiliating, and surreal. I tried calling her, reasoning with her, but she ignored my calls. The truth was clear. She wanted control, no matter what it cost. She wanted to ensure that I stayed her backup parent forever, and now she had weaponized the law against me. When the police arrived at my door, my hands shook. I knew I had to stay calm, but my heart pounded like a drum. They asked me to explain everything. I told them everything, from the first child to the 5th, from my exhaustion to my decision to finally set boundaries. I spoke clearly, detailing years of sacrifice, my sister's lack of accountability, and my intentions to leave not out of malice, but necessity. The officers listened, asked questions, and reviewed the situation. Slowly, I realized that the storm might not consume me. My sister's accusations were hollow, and the law was on my side. Relief mixed with lingering fear as I realized how close I had come to losing my freedom for something I had done out of love. After the tense questioning and review, the police concluded there was no legal case against me. My sister's claims were baseless. She was furious, but powerless. I could see the shock on her face, the disbelief that her plan had failed. I finally felt a weight lift off my chest, a freedom I hadn't known I craved. That evening, I walked alone through the quiet streets, reflecting on what had happened. I realized something profound. Helping family is noble, but enabling them endlessly at the expense of your own life is destructive. I had learned the hard way that love has limits, and boundaries are necessary, not just for self-preservation, but for the health of the entire family. I also realized that sometimes the ones we love most will push us to our limits. My sister hadn't intended to harm me legally, but she had tried to control me emotionally. I had allowed it for too long. Standing up for myself wasn't cruelty, it was necessary. It was the most loving act I could perform, for myself and, ironically, for her as well. The next day, I changed my phone number, blocked unnecessary calls, and focused on my own life. I reached out to the children only as their aunt, not their parent. Slowly, I rebuilt boundaries and reclaimed my time, energy, and mental health. I didn't regret helping them, but I would never let someone take advantage of me again. As I sat quietly in my apartment that night, reflecting on the chaos, I smiled. For the first time in years, I felt in control of my own life. The police incident, the accusations, the years of hidden sacrifice, it all led to this one powerful realization. I can love my family, but I must also respect myself. And as I drifted off to sleep, I thought about my sister. Would she ever understand why I left? Would she ever learn that true family support cannot come at the cost of personal freedom? Maybe not. But I knew one thing for certain. I had finally chosen myself, and that choice was the most liberating one of all. If you were in my shoes, would you have stayed or walked away? Could you finally say enough is enough to someone you love? Or would you keep sacrificing everything for them?